Well, I've had a number of requests lately on the channel to tell you about how I've increased my swing speed this year. If you've been watching the channel, you know my swing speed has gone from about 98 miles per hour on average, all the way up to about 103, 104 miles per hour on average. That's a big difference. That's adding almost 10 full yards to my drives out there on course. And it's a major factor to why I've dropped my handicap this year from 5 to now down into the 2s. At one point I was 2.1. I think currently after one bad round, I'm back up to 2.3. But I've done an incredible job this year of really improving my game. And the tool that I've really focused on using this year has been the hack motion. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen a couple of these hack motion tutorials. On today's video, I'm going to cover 5 ways to use this hack motion, not only to increase your swing speed, I'll show you how to do that, of course, but also some unique ways you may not even realize that the hack motion can help your game. Let's get to work. So the first really useful way you can use the hack motion is to prevent a slice. When you're coming through on your downswing, people tend to flip their wrists open, and what that does, that opens that club face right up. And you're gonna be pointing off to the right, as you can see here on my screen. That is generally the type of ball flight you get. Sometimes it even slices worse than that, but I'll try to demonstrate that for you. That's what happens when you just open your wrists up at impact. It leads to shots that fall short, as that one did on my island green. That went into the water. That's why I like to choose an island green, by the way, because it really makes you dial in your golf swing. And as you saw, the shape of that shot oftentimes is leading to the right. Now what we want to do instead is make sure that we think about turning our wrist down. When we do that, we can get ourselves into a proper angle, and that naturally closes the club face, squares it up at impact, as long as we're on the right swing plane. So let me demonstrate that. Let's see if I can get this right. Now, I came up a little bit short there because I didn't take a very hard swing at that one, but my wrist angle was correct at impact, and as you can see, that was a much straighter ball flight. Take a little stronger swing now. As you can see, I'm getting a nice draw that's coming right in at the hole. That could be in the hole. It's actually a little bit past. So, as you can see, getting your wrist angle into the proper position makes a huge difference in the golf swing, and it changes the shape of your ball flight. That's the number one way that a lot of people use the hack motion, but there are 4 more really cool ways. Now, the next way you can use the hack motion is in order to increase power in the golf swing, and a lot of people think you just need to swing faster in order to do that. That's a big mistake. If you want to generate more power in the golf swing, you got to learn to use some different muscles in the body, including a lot of muscles that are below your waist. I've found that, again, my normal golf swing, I kind of lift up on the ball. You probably see that again if you watch the show. And I need to work on rotating my hips, opening up, getting a little bit more lag in my golf swing, and if I can maintain my wrist position, I can generate a ton more power nearly effortlessly. That's what the pros do really well, and if you want to see some amazing golf swings, look at someone like Nelly Korda, for instance, how she rotates, opens the hips, those arms are trailing back, that wrist is hinged, and she is just naturally producing a lot of power for a lady. She's not the only one in the LPGA that does it, but she does it really, really well. So again, we're gonna use the hack motion here to learn to open our hips up and again, keep our wrist in the proper position, because if I was to flip and get my body turning, again, it's gonna be even worse. That ball's gonna be heading off to the right. In fact, I'll demo that for you. Ugly looking golf swing. Again, that ball heading dead right. But once we can put it all together, not only can we fire those hips with the lower body, but also get our wrist into the right spot, then we can really start to generate some serious power. Now I hit that one off the toe, but it's still gonna go a long way, I think. See if we can hit one clean. There we go, that's middle of the club face. Now still my wrist was slightly open there, but as you can see, I completely air-mailed that green. In fact, the carry on that one was 165 yards. That's pretty impressive for a mere mortal like me. So using the hack motion, getting our wrist angles in the right spot, and then learning how to open our hips to generate more power and really creates a little bit more lag. That's another way that you can use the hack motion. Now, before we move on, I've got to mention that hack motion right now is the cheapest it has ever been. During the Black Friday sales here, they've got some amazing deals happening over at hackmotion.com. It's linked in the description. Highly recommend you check it out. Now, another way that you can use the hack motion is to come up with a pre-shot routine and, more importantly, to work on tempo. That is so important out on the golf course, especially if you play competition golf, or even if you're teeing off with your friends, you get nervous at the tee box. What happens is we get quick or we get slow and we get out of our tempo, get out of our pace of play. Especially when you start to play bad golf, when you hit a bad shot or two and that thought comes into your head, it really messes with your tempo. But if you can train your brain to get the correct tempo all the time, you're going to play better golf. You're going to be able to calm those nerves. So there's a great tempo trainer built here into the hack motion, and I'm going to show you how it works. Literally, I'm just going to take a swing and see how my tempo is. This is my normal quote unquote tempo. Now that was a good shot, and as you can see, my tempo there, 3.2, that was right in range with what I was looking to do. Now, the reason I can nail it first try, and nearly every try, is because I hit hundreds and hundreds of shots here on Let's Play Through every week, and I've used this tempo trainer to really dial that in. But again, let me show you what happens when you get a little bit quick, what can happen to the golf ball when you don't have the right tempo. As you can see, my tempo was too quick there. The transition was slow coming back, and then I really went after it, and as you can see, pulled that one left. I actually hit it fat, which is why I lost a little bit of distance, and that thing looked really ugly. That can happen all the time out there on the golf course. And another thing that can happen when the heart is racing or you're feeling nervous for whatever reason is you start to slow down your tempo, or it's too quick coming back and too slow going through. There's a little bit of a pause. As you can see, they're on screen tempo 2.4. And again, that was just too slow tempo. I started to pause up at the top of my swing. So again, around 3.0 is the perfect range. Using the hack motion, you start to dial it in, you'll start to hit some good shots. There's the right tempo. There's a much better result. Now, another way that I have used the hack motion, one I think is really powerful to generating power and again to getting the right ball flight, the right shot shape, is getting the proper grip. And so many people, including myself over the years, just don't even think about the grip anymore. I used to grip the club a certain way, having been a baseball player, and it was a very weak grip. But I used that grip for like close to 30 years. Never even thought about it. Since my father taught me how to grip the golf club, and since I started playing golf, I never even thought about the grip. But when I got a fitting, and I was suggested by the fitter of all people to maybe strengthen my grip a little bit, my game completely changed. Now, you may not have someone that can actually take a look at your grip, but the hack motion can. Again, I've done some videos here on the channel about the grip itself, but this is a very neutral grip, all right, where my thumb's kind of just headed just a little bit left of that shaft. I bring my other hand over, very neutral grip there. Now, if I want to strengthen my grip, I will rotate my hand and I'll rotate my bottom hand under, and now I've got a very, very strong grip, and generally that club face can almost feel a little bit closed. Now, the opposite of that, of course, is the weak grip, and now this time I'm going to take my top hand, have it reached much further under, take my bottom hand, and I'm going to rotate it counterclockwise. That club face is considerably more open there. Again, that's theory, but using the hack motion, we can exactly see how that changes the shot shape and how your wrist angles play a huge role in the golf swing. There's my weak grip. I'm pushing it off to the right. That's way too weak for me. So let me go ahead now and try to strengthen that grip. I'm really, again, overdoing it here. Now for me, that strong grip everything's gonna go really far left. Now I got my wrist angle right there, as you saw up on the screen, but it wasn't a good looking golf shot. So now I'm gonna get my grip a little bit more neutral, see if we can still get our wrist angles into the right spot. And that's a little bit better. So again, neutral grip. Nailed it that time. And we've got a much better shot. So as you can see, if you're struggling pushing a lot of shots, pulling a lot of shots, there might be other things at play, and the hack motion can help you make some adjustments on your own to figure out where that right grip should be for you. Now the fifth really useful way to use the hack motion is with putting. This is where you're gonna spend the most amount of strokes on a golf course, and I think it's definitely something that folks should practice more and really learn to putt well. Now, when we go into putting mode here, we can benchmark our data against the PGA Tour. We can also set up some custom targets, just like we can with the full swing. When we hit continue, again, we're gonna tell if we're right-handed, left-handed, and if it's on our lead wrist or not. And then again, you can select a benchmark. So we can compare it against PGA Tour players, and we're gonna do a medium putt here. Let's just see where I'm at to start with here. My normal putting stroke. Now I pull that just a touch left, and as you can see, I was -1 degree at impact there. I was slightly under-rotated, and at the top I was a little over-rotated. So let's see if we can dial this in. There's almost no right or wrong when it comes to putting, but of course having the club face square and not having wrist movement is the key to putting well. You want to use these big muscles up top here as much as possible. Now I did that a lot better, as you can see. At the top I was 0 degrees, and at impact I was at 0 degrees. It was a much better putt, and I really focused on using those big muscles up top in order to do that. Again, you're also getting tempo training here built in to the putting system with the hack motion, which can be really important as well. Just like the golf swing, getting the right tempo with the putter may be even more important. We're starting to dial it in here. Now again, when you start to get wrist movement, that's where the putter stroke can really go wrong. I opened it up there. Let's see what happened. As you can see, I was under-rotated. I missed the putt to the right. We'll go the other way here, and I'm gonna over-rotate, which is basically kind of like pulling through with my, a lot of times this arm can get in the way. I over-rotated there, and you're gonna miss them to the left. So again, a really fantastic tool to make sure you're not rotating your wrists at all. Straight back, straight through, you make putts. Now, if you really struggle with putting and you find you're over or under rotating your wrists all the time, it may be time to just try out some different putting strokes. For instance, I could try cross-handed and see how that affects things. I made that putt, and I was square at impact. Another putting stroke we can try here is the claw. And basically, I'm gonna rotate my hand and try to claw it between my thumb and my forefinger there, my index finger. I don't think I do too well with that one. Yeah, I over-rotated. I still made the putt, but that's not the putting stroke for me. At least it's not something that I have really practiced over the years. Another one that's kind of become really popular, especially on Instagram, is a butterfly grip. It's kind of like a prayer grip, but basically what you're gonna do is stick out your pointer finger on your top hand, take your bottom hand and get it in there, and try to bring those two thumbs together. Again, let me try to demo that for you. So I'm gonna try to get my pinky and ring finger between my index finger and middle finger, sort of bring them together and have them leaning straight down the shaft. My friend Wade, this is his putting grip, which he really likes. And he finds he keeps the putt stable. Seemed to work for me. I was a little over-rotated, still made the left edge of that cup. So lots of different ways to use the hack motion to try on different putting grips, and again, to just make sure that however you decide to putt the ball, you're keeping that face square, you're not over or under rotating it, and you're making more putts. So those are 5 ways that I found I use the hack motion and really enjoy this system and improve my golf. But I'm sure there's other ways, so leave some comments down below if you've used the hack motion for yourself. I would love to know. As I mentioned, I'm gonna leave a link in the description where you can save some money here throughout the holiday season. There's a big sale happening at Hack Motion. That's linked down in the description for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not already, please do hit subscribe. I'll catch you back here next time on another edition of Let's Play Through.